bank branches. And that means that we have six branches for 100,000 people versus 32 branches in the US for 100,000 people. We have 12,000 ATM machines, which is again about 6 for 100,000 people, which is 180 ATM machines in the US for 100,000 people. We have 1.1 million credit cards, which is about 0.5% of the population, versus 57% in the US. And I could go on and on in terms of if you look at the POS machines where you swipe your card, in Pakistan we have 52,000, which is 25 per 100,000 people. In the US it's 4,300. So while we've made tremendous progress, we still haven't realized even a fraction of the potential. The people we have on stage have a lot of experience scaling online. I think the people on stage have contributed a very significant portion to the investment brought into the online ecosystem. So what I'd like to ask my panelists to do, if you could kindly just introduce yourself very briefly, and we would love to hear what you're doing and what changes you have seen in the online ecosystem over the last 5 years or so as you've scaled and grown your businesses. And we'd love to also hear the kind of scale that you've achieved. Mudassar, if I could ask you to start, please.
Thank you, Monis. I'm a banker by training, but I've done many different things in the last 20 years. But the last 10 years has been the most exciting. And when I started working with the unbanked and underbanked segment of Pakistan. And in that space, which is called Microfinance, we have gradually entered into the digital space because that's the most efficient way to distribute financial services in Pakistan. So I was associated with a different bank and we co-founded a digital wallet Simpson that we're very proud of. But now I'm with Telenor Bank, and the wallet that we have is EasyPaisa, which is the fastest growing digital platform in Pakistan. And we are now experiencing what we call exponential growth. And this word exponential is very important, and I'll share a few things with you so that how the fourth industrial revolution that we have entered is an exponential era. Things don't really grow in a linear way anymore. So in terms of exponential, in the last few months, something has really almost clicked on, and we are clocking close to 1 million new users a month. We have over 2 million people are downloading our app, and then they have to go through the registration funnel. But we are adding a very substantial number of people who are now adopting the new technology en masse. Now the real challenge is that how we position ourselves to connect the larger ecosystem to create new value. But I'll just take 2 minutes to talk about the importance of thinking exponentially. Because the human brain is wired to think in a linear way. We think incrementally, that I will take this step and then I'll take the next step. But think about this age think about the example that there is a lily in a pond and it doubles in size every day. And it will take the lily to cover the entire pond 30 days, and if it covers the entire pond, all the fish die. So when is the last day that you would have to cut off that lily? It'll be the day 29. But on day 29, only half of the pond will be covered. But on day 30th, when you wake up, the entire pond is covered. So this is exactly how the fourth industrial revolution is actually changing the world. And the important thing is that we don't need to look at the West anymore because this is the Asian century. So the change is actually going to start from here. It is not going to come from the West. So I'll give it to you.
Thank you very much for that. Great idea. In fact, it really hits upon what I wanted to ask all of you next, so appreciate that. Moneeb, you've been involved in this industry, e-commerce with Daraz, you were a founder of Daraz, you've seen e-commerce growth. BYKEA, you've hyper-scaled it, you've raised investment. What are the changes you see?
So it's been a journey, right? So I think we started building the ecosystem around e-commerce. In fact, the couriers in Pakistan did not do cash on delivery prior to us actually building the SOPs for them to do cash on delivery. Right? So basically, me and my team were actually formative in helping even the courier industry correct payments. I think just to give you some color, so I started my career with outsourcing, service outsourcing, which is the harbinger of the dollars that come into this country, right? Because you use wage arbitrage, which means that you pay people less in Pakistan and get them to do work equivalent of somebody with a higher salary overseas. And you sort of run a plantation, but a modern day plantation in Pakistan. That's what I did for the first 7 years. And that was hugely profitable. But I think the next thing was really around how to leverage the internet for within transactions within the country. And so, e-commerce was an opportunity to do that. And we certainly pretty built it up, but I think after our 4 years of running Daraz, I kind of also recognized the hurdle we would come across as a nation. And the hurdle after spending millions of dollars was that actually only 10% of this country actually comprehends English. 90% of this country struggles to read and write, particularly digitally. No one can. Like, none of you can type a search in it. That's not the case in Iran, that's not the case in Saudi Arabia, that's not the case in any country, I guess, if you exclude India. Because India is not the best example. Everybody keeps talking about India. But India is just flush with capital. And of course, what you're seeing right now is this massive emergence of the upper middle class or the middle class. But like, I think they're going to hit a huge hurdle as well very, very soon. Okay? So with Pakistan, we've got this very large population, and we've got to figure out how to make technology relevant for them. And I think BYKEA was really trying to think about how do you make a common man, someone who makes about, let's say, 30,000 rupees or a month. How do you make the internet relevant for them? They're not going to buy smartphones every month, right? They're not going to buy like khadi kurte, So how do you make the internet relevant for them? So yeah, I started that about 3 years ago. Unfortunately, I think most of you are not very familiar with BYKEA because like less than 5% of our business is in Lahore. Most of it is in Karachi, and that's not because we haven't tried to focus in Lahore. It's just that this battle of ride sharing costs a lot of money. Most people don't know that Uber and Careem have spent nearly $500 million in Pakistan burning capital to acquire users. But that's of course allowed the founders of Careem a beautiful exit, which has been sort of like fantastic for them. But for us, we wanted to win the battle in one mohalla. For us, the mohalla initially was Karachi, right? So I think we've been able to succeed. And just for context, by the way, we have about 60-70% market share in Karachi on the worldwide category. We've been able to succeed mostly by dumping the product down, making people not type anything, making people go through a catalog journey, making people use voice notes, making people just see things and not have to read a lot in English. And that has allowed us to tap into a demographic which is harder and harder for global giants to sort of nurture or cultivate their product around, right? So that's enabled us to tap into the market. And how do I see the future? I mean, I think the biggest complexity is going to be around how do you make digital relevant for an audience which operates a smartphone like my 7-year-old operates a smartphone. Like you may have a lot of these 73 million odd users using WhatsApp and Facebook, but the way they use it is just like my 7-year-old does, right? You can't really for me, as a product-focused person, I think I dream every day about how to solve this monumental problem that we have of a handicapped, illiterate nation coming into the new age.
So I mean, I think you have success in this because I know your numbers, but can you share with the audience how you've scaled over the last few years in terms of how many rides you were doing per day then and how many rides you're doing now?
Yeah, so when we started this, there was no bike taxi culture. In fact, जब हमने शुरू किया तो लोगों ने कहा कि bike taxi कौन करेगा, delivery का काम तो आपका चल जाएगा, bike taxi कौन नहीं करेगा, right? So obviously we started off with zero, and there was no bike taxi culture in the country, right? But like right now, like BYKEA, like of course we put a lot of capital, we burn a lot of capital as well. Let's be cognizant of that, right? So, but you know, I mean, I can give you vanity figures like installs, like we've got over 2 million installs and all, but like daily active, like transactions. If we talk about, and I'll talk about monthly, perhaps a little more relevant for you. We run between 1.7 to 1.8 million transactions a month, right? So it's serious volume. But again, in a demographic that you probably don't even associate with, right? So, and you
1.7 million rides a month.
Yeah. So,
just imagine the scale of that number. It's amazing.
All these transactions are like $1 or less than $1, between so and some $1.50 or there, right? So basically, that's what the average transaction value is, right? And ironically, most of us are not branded, so you don't see 80% of our fleet, particularly in Karachi. Even though if you come to Karachi, you probably see BYKEA, right? But you don't see most of them, which is a tragedy because this country, like, I think there has to be a hybrid online and offline for people to recognize the power of leveraging technology to scale.
Great, thank you. And Mohsin, I'm going to skip you for a second. We'll come back to you. Zohaib, Airlift has a really interesting story. How many of you have heard of Airlift here? They've just raised a huge investment, very interesting firm. Usman is also founder and CEO. He stopped by my office, I believe in March, when he was trying to raise investment. He raised a small seed round. I saw his slides and I thought, wow, smart guy, great stuff. And I said, how many of these are you doing now? I think he had 2 buses or 3 buses. And they were doing it manually. And I said, yeah, it's good, but I can't invest right now. It's too early. I need to see if you can execute and scale this. So let's stay in touch. I want to speak to you again. Next time Airlift came on my radar is when they were closing an investment round of $12 million. And they had 500 buses on the road. And this is a matter of 3 or 4 months later. So this is an example of hyperscaling. And so it would be very interesting to hear your journey, because your journey is very small. It's only a few months. I think it's under a year, but you've made huge impact. So if you could kind of share your journey and how you started and what the challenges were then and how you've seen your scale since then.
So,
and if you could just briefly explain what you do, that'd be great.
So everybody, I'm the founding member at Airlift. We formed Airlift in January. It's exactly been 1 year since we formed. This was exactly the same day, 11th of January, when we all got together. And when we saw this as a problem in Pakistan, where public transport was dying. It wasn't used by the general public, and by general public I mean everyone in the strata. So there was this problem that we were discussing, and the problem was that there was this person called Sarah, and she had an average salary of 30,000 rupees, and she was traveling from the outskirts of Lahore towards where in Jet Lines, and 30,000 from Multan Road to Jet Lines would cost her around daily spend of 500 rupees. So that meant that she was 50% of her income was just going in transportation. That was a big, massive problem that was back in the days depicted in our mind, and that was what we were solving for. How do you connect people from long distances so they can basically make a better marginal propensity to save from their income. So at the back end, we were just trying to make sure that we build a system, and we build a system by catering to such class that they can travel throughout Lahore and in the most cost-effective manner. So how do we do that? And it was naturally that we were to go towards higher capacity vehicles. So there's a lot of ride-hailing services in Lahore, in Pakistan, but they're not solving the problem of cost-effective commute. And we were trying to figure out a way whereby we could solve this problem. 2 months down the lane, we were in Monis's office. We were asking for investment. And on top of that, we were distributing pamphlets to their employees to use one of our 2 buses to commute. And we just had an MVP out there that just back end, it had nothing, but on the MVP you could just pick up, you could just drop your pin location from where you wanted to pick up and get picked up and where you wanted to get dropped off. And back end we were running it manually, as Monis pointed out. After that, we started our operations around mid-March to end of March, and by December we have a fleet size of more than 1,000 vehicles in both Lahore and Karachi. We're doing more than somewhere around 1.1 million to 1.5 million rides a month, and that's our story. But this journey has been very fast, and it's a small journey to begin with. We've not been here in this industry like the other panelists have been, and the entire premise of our concept was how do we build technology to solve problems, and I think we are solving problems here in Pakistan.
That's great. That's great. I think you're an example of one of the fastest growth that I've seen in the online ecosystem, and it's a testament to how well you've executed, but also a testament to the timing of your entry into Pakistan and where the ecosystem is, and the roads that have been paved prior to the painful roads that have been paved. And so, Mohsin, you've been hearing, how many individuals here have not heard of Mohsin Hamid? Anyone? No one? Okay, so there are more people who have heard of him than have heard of our sites, I think. So you've been hearing a lot of talk here with the left brain, all the numbers we're throwing, and how fast the ecosystem is growing and how we're scaling. But at best, we have basically touched less than 5% of the population. So for all our talk, the impact hasn't been pervasive. We haven't hit 80%. We haven't really hit the market, the mass market, the awam, the average individual. What are we doing wrong? What is the story that we need to get out there to convince everybody to hop on this bandwagon?
It's a bit like asking the first water lily in the pond, what is doing wrong? Nothing really. We're sort of at a point in the cycle. I'll tell a couple of stories that I think relate to this. One is, some years ago I wrote a novel that was called How to Get Filthy Rich in Rising Asia. And it was set in an unnamed city that I used Lahore as a model for. And it followed a young man who moved into the city in complete poverty and then went to school, went to college, started his own business, built that business up, was involved with corrupt bureaucrats, with venal politicians, with entrenched same-type businesses, and he fights his way through and discovers some things along the way. And I didn't name the city. The country, the city is never named. And the reason why I didn't name it is I partly wanted to make the claim that this imaginary city based on Lahore is sort of like the world's universal city. And we imagine that London and Paris and New York are the universal archetype of the city. They're not actually. They're very unusual cities. Lahore and Karachi are what the world actually looks like. And so I wrote this novel and put it out into the world. And something quite interesting happened, at least for me. So the first people who approached me to make a film about this novel was a combination of sort of an American producer and a gentleman called Aqil, who was a Mexican filmmaker and screenwriter. Those of you who've seen Monis or Babel work. And they came and they said, look, this feels to us like Mexico City. And we would like to make a movie about this. And then I was approached by somebody from China who said, look, this feels a lot like a Chinese city. And more recently, in fact, I'm now collaborating with a Brazilian producer who produced Ad Astra, the recent Brad Pitt film, and Call Me By Your Name, and other interesting films, and an amazing Swedish-Egyptian filmmaker, a brilliant director named Tarek Saleh, who made an incredible film called The Nile Hilton Incident about Cairo. It felt very much like a North African city like Cairo. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because actually we are at the epicenter of what's happening in the world today. And the things you're hearing about from my fellow panelists is they are developing the solutions to the problems that the vast majority of the world's population are encountering now. And in fact, they're at the cutting edge of developing the solutions because these solutions don't already exist. So I would say, if I take your question, what are we doing wrong? I would rephrase that and say, finally, actually, we are doing things right. And as these problems are beginning to be solved in the context of Karachi or Lahore, I think what we'll see not just is radically different alternatives being developed in this market, but in fact a chance for Pakistanis to contribute to rethinking these problems all over the world and to be part of a kind of interesting entrepreneurial infrastructure. And the last thing, very briefly, which I'll just close on is to give you a sense that this is actually happening. So in addition to writing my novels for many years, I was a management consultant, and I worked in New York and the tech boom in the 1990s, and I ran a firm in London in the 2000s. And at one point I served as the chief storytelling officer of this firm. And we were asked in by one of the world's 2 or 3 largest companies by market value to come and talk to them about retail and consumer-based tech out in the world. And we pitched against many much larger companies. In the end, we flew into Silicon Valley to talk to these folks. And what we presented them was a series of holograms based on 12 actual people, half of whom were in Africa and Asia, and the backgrounds, who they are, how they lived, how they made a living, what their day felt like, how they got to work. And what was interesting was all these people running one of the biggest tech companies in the world are sitting, looking at these holograms. We had actors from the countries enact these characters, we had ethnographers map their backgrounds, we did all this stuff. And they were fascinated because they knew everything about the world of data, but they actually knew very little about the people of places like Lahore. And that's where, in fact, there's an incredible richness sitting right here. It's not the case that there's some knowledge out in California which we are missing. I'd say it's the other way around, that there's a great deal of capital and expertise in places like California that one can tap into quite easily. But the knowledge that actually sitting among people here who are figuring out these problems and these people is in fact one of the most interesting and cutting edge areas in technology that I think will transform not just Lahore, Karachi and Pakistan, but the world.
So have we failed to tell our story properly to the rest of the world in terms of the amazing things that are going on? I'll give you an example. I quoted a number earlier, 27% growth last year in e-commerce, which is among the 10 fastest growing globally. You will not find us in the rankings of the top 10 fastest growing places for e-commerce anywhere. That story just hasn't been told, and the numbers are just not widely available. But if you look at the rankings and the growth globally, we fit in the top 10. So have we failed to tell our story properly to the rest of the world?
I mean, definitely. I mean, on that point, we have failed, and we failed at the level of a country, Pakistan, because a certain narrative has been established for Pakistan. And, the world news business is an entertainment business, it's about attention. And the form of attention that Pakistan has been cast in is like a horror film franchise. So we are like Friday the 13th or something. So Pakistan gets the world's attention when people die, when something scary happens. But of course, we have been complicit in not putting forward a different narrative of Pakistan, which is incredibly entrepreneurial society, based on very little state support for the average person, and incredibly resilient, incredibly entrepreneurial, that actually in many ways is moving forward incredibly well. And so I think there's partly that story. But the other part of the story, which I think perhaps in Pakistan specifically, we haven't done a very good job in, is that the world of technology has spoken to the world of investment, or is increasingly speaking, is speaking to the world of customers, but is not yet well engaged in a conversation with the world of the citizen. I.e., how do we tell Pakistanis that something is going on, and that there in fact is coming into view a vision of the future that's radically different from not just the visions of the past, but even our ideas of what the possibilities could be. And I think hopefully what we'll see in the next coming years from gentlemen like these and others is the beginning of the telling of these narratives, so that people can begin to dream of a different kind of Pakistan that technology will enable, which in fact is much more like the Pakistan that I think many of us, most of us actually want.
That's great. Just excellent thoughts. And I think the people on the stage right now are really outliers in terms of the online ecosystem. I can't think of a lot of other people. If we were to add chairs here, I could add maybe 2 or 3 or 4 more chairs, and that's it. We've really failed to hyperscale online, even though the ecosystem is right. I think everything is there. We've got payment, we've got online users, we've got smartphones, we've got internet, we've got ID cards, we've got almost everything lined up right now, but we've seen very few organizations hyperscale. If you look in the Western world, the old economy has moved to the new economy. Everything has an online component, and what's unique is if you look at the companies that have hyperscale, they haven't just taken a traditional offline model, a business that's offline, and simply added a credit card option to it online to pay. They've actually transformed the business model, like Uber transformed the model for transportation, for a taxi company. They've innovated and they've scaled accordingly. But that hyperscaling DNA, the culture, the mindset of hyperscaling, blitzscaling as it's called by Reid Hoffman, my friend and early investor, is there something missing there? Being an entrepreneur that hyperscales a business is a person who jumps off a cliff and builds an airplane on the way down and hopes he'll land successfully. This is an incredible level of risk, and you see it every single time in the big, large internet organizations, from Amazon to Google to Uber, you name it, Airbnb. And it takes a special way to operate a business to have the confidence to jump off a cliff and the belief that you will be able to build that airplane before you crash land. And often this results in a lot of chaos. Often you cannot plan. I think in our DNA in Pakistan, we've been very conservative, we've been anti-risk, we plan accordingly. We go a linear route for scale. The moment we do something crazy, we are told and slapped on the wrist, what are you doing? The board of directors will say, this is insane. You need to plan carefully. This could happen, this could happen, this could happen. But all of the companies that have hyperscaled have defied those odds, and they have opened up to the fact that they could crash land. And I think without that, it is impossible to reach the kind of scale and impact that we need to. So again, I'd like to go around and ask the panelists of examples where they did something crazy that wouldn't make sense and that could have ended up in destruction of enterprise that they were creating. And I have lots of examples from my history when we did crazy things that had a likelihood to fail, but we did anyway, and we landed on our feet. So, Mudassar, I know you've got a lot of examples in our journey alone, but I'm sure more than that.
So I don't want to bore people by giving technical work examples. I'll talk in broad concepts. So the one concept that actually Monis and I developed together with another colleague of ours, Asif, was that why should we charge for payments? Payments should be free, whereas the entire banking system is built on pricing transactions, right? So that was one crazy thing we did that became the sole reason why we scale a product, and then we were actually able to change the entire industry, where it is now gradually moving towards free payments. The pricing has substantially come down in Pakistan because of it. But let's just take a step back and understand why this is happening. Right? So the one important concept to understand is that the pipeline businesses are dying and platform businesses are flourishing. Right? So the pipeline is that you take something of a lesser value, maybe a raw material, you add a little bit of value, then you add some premium, and then you sell it to someone. So you're really creating a product. In the platform business, you're really not creating anything, you're majority of the time curating. Right? So you are, it's not really the best product which is going to win, it's the best ecosystem which is going to win. Right? So this is a new mindset. So I'll give you an example that this is an iPhone which is really successful because of the iOS platform. The Android platform is the second platform. So what they've done in the pipeline world, they would have tried to create a product and then say, okay, now I'm going to hire developers who will create all these apps, and then I will find solutions to all the problems in the world. Now what Apple and Google are doing, they're saying, here's a platform and let's co-create. You come and create new value on my platform, and then we share the dividends. Right? So this is the platform thinking. So I think this is where we are failing, because not enough people are understanding that how you have to open yourself up to the world to win. Right? That's the key idea. So, and the second thing that Mohsin talked about, which is very, very important, which I think is lost on the majority of the people, and including myself, and it's a work in progress for me personally, is that it's not about content anymore, it's about context. So it's not what you create for the people, it's what you mean to them is what's going to sell. Because in the new world, capital, skill, technology and distribution are becoming a commodity. So once you have artificial intelligence and you have Internet of Things and you have big data and you have smartphones and you have equal access for the whole world, then it's the pattern detection, etc. All of these things are a commodity. It's now how do you stitch together a story that people understand and can relate to is what's going to sell. So this, in my view, is what's missing in Pakistan, which is really holding us back.
Great, thank you. Moneeb, what is the craziest thing you have done that turned out to be the smartest thing you've done?
Start a bike taxi service.
That works.
Honestly, I haven't been in the country is not about. I think, the question is, global investors being entering, कि मसला क्या है, पाकिस्तान के साथ. Like fundamentally, जो मेरे ख्याल में जो मसला है, वो ये है कि आपके फोनों पे जो एप्स हैं, वो आपके मुल्क की एप्स हैं. वो एप्स आप देखिए लीड्स कहां से आ रहे हैं, कंट्रोल कौन कर रहा है, बेसिकली एडवर्टाइजिंग कंट्रोल कौन कर रहा है, कंटेंट कंट्रोल, लाइक हु हैज द पावर. It is these international platforms that you are addicted to. What does that mean? That means basically that they will, whenever they can find their time and attention to focus perhaps on you, in lieu of the advertising revenue that they generate from you, focus on you from a product perspective. They're not going to focus on you from a product perspective. Right? So why would Facebook, or why would Google, or why would LinkedIn, or Instagram, or TikTok try to make anything for you as a nation? Right? I think acceleration in transactions, digital transactions in China happened a lot through WeChat. Right? But WeChat enabled advertising, WeChat enabled integration with other apps, WeChat enabled voice notes way before WhatsApp enabled voice notes, right? So recognizing the Chinese also find it cumbersome to type, right? So I think the hurdle is that unlike other countries, बुनियादी जो हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म है हमारे अपने नहीं। सो वियतनाम जैसे आप मुल्क में चले जाएं, 100 मिलियन की आबादी है लेकिन चैट उनकी अपनी है, right? They don't use WhatsApp very often. WhatsApp is secondary to them. Chat उनकी है, you know. I don't want to look at India as an example. It's the worst country in the world to look at as an example. Because it's just flush with capital, people are highly, China का opportunity miss हो गई है उसमें, किसी ना किसी तरह इंडिया के बिलियन लोगों को मिस ना करो, लेकिन इंडियंस को ड्रग कर दिया basically on Western products. So I look at Iran में आप ऐप कहाँ से इंस्टॉल करते हैं? प्ले स्टोर से ना। ईरान में प्ले स्टोर से नहीं करते। एंड्रॉइड की सारी एप्लीकेशंस एक उनका लोकल प्लेटफॉर्म है कॉल कैफे बाजार, उधर से करते हैं। और कैफे बाजार में 99% जो प्रोडक्ट्स हैं वो फारसी हैं। So I think even though we have all these software developers जो बड़े गुण गाते हैं कि बड़े अच्छे सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर्स हैं दुनिया में, ये क्या सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर्स हैं जिन्होंने अपना प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं बनाया अपने मुल्क के लिए? We're just hard getting dollars into this country. We're really like, you know, we're proud of being in these, you know, rankings and being, you know, like, what have we done for this country? All we're doing is getting like, अपने घर को साफ अपने बाहर पूरा फेंक रहे हैं. You know, that's the mentality that I think.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. This is a great point, and it really brings a note in my heart. You know, when I see how eager we are to bring in, for example, PayPal. Everybody's after PayPal. Look at it. Where are the PayPal? Where's PayPal? We need PayPal. Why are we running after PayPal? We have the PayPal being created right here. We can do it ourselves. Why should we give our prized data to a country all the way across the ocean? And God knows what's happening with the data. I'm horrified whenever I meet a minister or a senior person in the government and they give me their business card and they tell me to mail them on a Hotmail email account. I'm horrified. So, you know, I agree 100% with, you know, what you're saying. I'm also going to skip you again for a second, if you don't mind. Zohaib, I know your history, and I know that you scaled very fast, and unlike what people think, it wasn't completely planned out, कि ये हमारा app होगा, इस तरह होगा, फिर चीजें इस तरह जाएंगी. You didn't have that fully baked roadmap. You actually jumped off of it. You built the airplane on the way down. We'd like to hear some examples from you on the chaos that you experienced in the early days and how you handled that. Because the theme I want to leave you with is if you want to hyperscale a startup, there's going to be chaos. You can't plan everything and you should not plan everything. So I'd love to hear a few examples from you.
So I'll give you two examples. I'm heading supply and so first the supply related example. How do you ensure कि जो आपका ड्राइवर है वो ऑन टाइम जा रहा है कि नहीं? So initially मैं और मेरे जो टीममेट हैं वो बैठे होते थे हेल्पलाइन पे और सारे ड्राइवर्स को बारी कॉल कर रहे जी आप जा रहे हैं टाइम पे जा रहे हैं टाइम पे जा रहे हैं and that was working. That only worked till we had like 15 to 20 buses. उसके बाद it doesn't work. And why it doesn't work? Because you have to think beyond the barriers of manual work, and you have to think of solving problems through technology, and that is where hyperscaling comes in. And how do we bring in hyperscaling? So, एक driver app बना दिया आपने, वो तो पहले भी थी. उसके ऊपर the driver marks his presence, ठीक है? 30 minutes before the shift. Now, when a driver does not mark his presence 30 minutes before the shift, that's where the driver helpline comes into action and starts giving them a call and says, "Aap kidhar hai? Aapki live location nahi aa rahi." That's 30 minutes before the first passenger will get on the bus, and we are doing this for like 1,000 buses. And iski attrition rate mein dekhta hu to the portal data jab main dekhta hu, we hardly give like 10 calls a day. We are changing the mindset of the drivers, the pilots that we call them, and they are now becoming more bridged with technology. And that's where they're trying to understand कि यार हमने उन्हें ये बताया कि देखिए आप ये टेक्नोलॉजी सीख लें और आपको फिर कहीं भी जॉब मिल सकती है. But if you do not understand the technology, तो आप वहाँ रहेंगे. हम कुछ we're not doing anything different. हम एक basically एक transport industry है उसको automate कर रहे हैं through technology, right? And how are we? Why haven't a conventional transporter been able to do this? Because he wasn't using the hyper hyper growth wala mindset, hyper scale wala mindset, or using technology. And anyone could have done that. So say for instance, employees in Nestle, I don't know how they commute, right? But they must have supply running from the city towards their destination, right? But why hasn't that supply been able to bring in technology and solve problem, become the big, develop the big decentralized mass transit? He needs to understand that this is a concept that the world is now acquiring, and he needs to move into that direction. And hyperscaling का मकसद ये है कि irrespective of whatever numbers they are, the process does not fail. And if it fails, then you've not done a good job. A second example would be, do you have a question?
Oh no, I think we're almost out of time, and that's been very insightful. But what I want to do is just save a bit of time, because I know we have some aspiring entrepreneurs in the audience who've come all of this way to speak to us. So I wanted to allow them the opportunity to ask a question, or maybe 2 questions. So I'd like to open it up. So we're going to take 2 questions only. I'm sorry, we're almost out of time. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. And Mohsin, I'm going to give you the honor to choose the next person who you'd like to hear a question from, because we didn't get your input on the last one. Chief, please. Chief, please.
I actually wanted to hear the rest of that comment.
Okay, so good. We can use the question for that. Please.
So a second example probably is that I've had 10 years of experience in the financial industry. स्टॉक मार्केट में पहले क्या होता था कि आप एक ऑर्डर टेलीफोन पे देते थे, और वो टेलीफोन के ऊपर फिर वो ऑर्डर ड्रॉप होता था टुवर्ड्स द पिट, जहाँ पे एक ऑक्शन हो रही होती थी, और वो आपको कहता था आई वांट टू बाय 10 stocks of ExxonMobil for like $10.20, और ये सारा प्रोसेस हो रहा होता था. Transactions were limited. As soon as portals came in, and now all brokerage firms throughout the world have portals. It's all digital ECNs, we call them. वो ECNs के अंदर आपने enter दबाया, automatically transaction हो गया, आपके account में shares आ गया, आपके account से पैसे withdraw हो गए. Now imagine the transactions now have gone 100 times bigger and more in volumes as opposed to what they were doing previously. So hyperscaling के अंदर the building of that process and that portal, as the panelists pointed out, is very, very important. That's how you hyperscale. Move out of, do not scale human labor, in fact scale technology to solve the problem.
Great. So one last question. So just hands up please if you have questions, and we're going to choose because we only have one. Then Mohsin, please do the honors.
I think gentlemen is already stood up in great.
Great, please.
They just handed me the mic, so. Example of the US. How important, and also India, how important do you think the fundraising or the capital infrastructure plays into the fact that we are or not able to hyperscale?
That's a great question, and I was just going to close on the answer for that. So that's my closing. So if you allow us, we'll close with the answer to that. So I'll ask one more individual for a question.
that digital Pakistan में एक digital गांव कब तक बनाएंगे? शुक्रिया। सिर्फ मॉडल के तौर पे एक गांव चलता है।
एक क्या चाहिए आपको?
एक विलेज है।
एक गांव चाहिए।
मॉडल के तौर पे।
Village to
हमारी जो आपसे कह रहे हैं पाकिस्तान में, जैसे मोनिस ने शुरू में शेयर किया कि 7 करोड़ लोग ऐसे हैं जिनके पास स्मार्टफोन की एक्सेस है। तो जो डिजिटल इनोवेशन सारी हो रही है वो ऐप की स्पेस से प्राइमरीली हो रही है। तो जो लोग जिनके पास स्मार्टफोन अभी एक क्रिटिकल मैस में नहीं है जिस लोकेशन में, वहाँ पे उसका इम्पैक्ट कम नजर आ रहा है, पहला पॉइंट। दूसरा जो है वो ये है कि हमारी रूरल इकोनॉमी जो है उसको हमने बाय एंड लार्ज इग्नोर किया हुआ है, क्योंकि जैसे मुनीब कह रहे थे कि हम इंस्पिरेशन ले रहे हैं बाहर वेस्ट से, अभी भी इनोवेशन के लिए हम अपने लोकल प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो आप जैसे जो यंग लोग हैं उनको हमारे लोकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट के प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए अपनी इकोनॉमी में, अपने इकोसिस्टम में देखना है कि क्या मसले हैं जिनको सॉल्व करना है। ये कहीं किसी को आके पहले प्लम्बिंग नहीं करनी पड़ेगी एक विलेज की कि ये डिजिटल हो गया अब यहाँ पे चेंज आएगी। चेंज आएगी सॉल्विंग वन प्रॉब्लम एट ए टाइम इन माय ओपिनियन।
जी, and just to quickly add on that, ये देखिए आपके पास स्मार्टफोन है, इंटरनेट है, आपके स्मार्टफोन है, ये लोग जो स्टेज पे बैठे हैं, they're not the ones who are going to do the काम. ये काम जो है, डिजिटल काम, वो आप बनाएंगे और आप बनाएंगे और आप बनाएंगे. And I want to send this as a message. Please don't expect other people to do something for you. You are fully empowered. You're young, you're bright. आपके पास tools, आपके पास access है. If there's a change you want to see, आप खुद करें. Please do it. We need you. We need everybody. It's not just these 5-6 individuals here. We need everybody to do it. Everybody must play their role. So to conclude the panel, I'd like to thank everybody on the panel. These are the heroes of the country. Please a round of applause for all of them. Investment की हो रही थी बात. We've got a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs. Happy to talk to you after the panel. I think we're all here to speak for a few minutes. जहाँ तक investment की बात हो रही थी, yes, we need investment to grow these enterprises. उनको scale करने के लिए we need investment funds to come in. And a lot of people get stuck. जब investment आएगी तो फिर मैं आगे बढ़ूँगा. Investment नहीं आएगी तो मैं नहीं कर सकता कुछ. Ask these people how many of them started with investment. हमारे हाथ में नहीं था कुछ. हमने जब start किया था. We risked everything. We started an investment बाद में आई है, once we showed success. And one thing I'll share with you, there are more international investors looking at Pakistan now than ever before. If I can just tell you of the conversations I've had in the last week alone, the largest venture capital funds in the world are eager to enter into this market because they claim they're looking at the growth that's happening in Pakistan. So the message I have to you is there has never been a better time to be a digital entrepreneur in Pakistan, to make a difference for your country, to make an impact. And I promise you, if you do that, the money will come in. The money will follow. Thank you very much.